Deep in our solar system, there is a floating vault of metal called 16 Psyche. The theoretical valuation of the raw materials inside this single rock is estimated at roughly $10 quintillion. To understand that number, we have to look at the scale of our own world. If this tiny block represents our entire global GDP of about $100 trillion, the wealth trapped inside Psyche is 100,000 times greater. It is a number so vast the human brain struggles to process it. These objects are the dense, metallic cores of planets that failed to fully form 4.6 billion years ago. Trapped in a belt between Mars and Jupiter, they were constantly pulled apart by the gravity of the gas giants, leaving behind these exposed planetary hearts. Because of how they formed, these cores are packed with gold, platinum, and iridium. These elements originated in ancient supernova explosions, eventually drifting across the universe to become embedded in the rocks of our solar system. This creates a massive tension in the space industry. If there's literally unlimited wealth floating in our solar system, why aren't the world's billionaires building giant cargo ships to bring it back to Earth right now? The hunt for this space wealth is an active race happening right now. NASA is currently leading a dedicated mission to explore 16 Psyche, with their probe scheduled to arrive at the asteroid by 2029. At the same time, private space companies are investing millions of dollars into research and development, assuming that massive future profits are inevitable. The race to the asteroid belt is a physical reality, but the mainstream idea of hauling that wealth back to Earth is a misunderstanding of how space capitalism actually operates. To understand why space gold isn't being shipped home, consider the asteroid economy paradox. It is built on a single rule: scarcity is the only thing that creates value. This chart tracks supply versus price. Give everyone 50 kilos of gold, and its value instantly drops to zero. If a company brings millions of tons of asteroid platinum back to Earth, this massive supply crashes the market, bankrupting them. Then there is the astronomical cost of the trip itself. The asteroid belt is 179 million kilometers away from Earth. The fuel and engineering costs to send heavy machinery out there and haul raw ore back are currently higher than the metals themselves. Since bringing metals back to Earth would destroy their own market value, the true goal of space billionaires has shifted to something much more practical. The blueprint for this strategy comes from the 1848 California gold rush. Historical data shows that the people who built the greatest fortunes were not the miners digging for gold, but the entrepreneurs who provided the picks, shovels, transport, and infrastructure. Today, the target resource for the first trillion-dollar space companies is water. This molecule can be split into its core components, hydrogen and oxygen, allowing companies to manufacture rocket fuel directly in space. At the same time, companies plan to mine iron and nickel to 3D print orbital stations and fuel depots in zero gravity. Establishing an off-world supply chain allows these massive companies to completely bypass the high cost of escaping Earth's gravity. By sourcing fuel and materials in space, they can monopolize the infrastructure needed for any future cosmic expansion. Institutional capital rarely moves until ownership rights are guaranteed by law. Historically, every major resource rush has been preceded by a quiet period of legal maneuvering. The United States formalized the legal foundation for space mining in 2015 with the passage of the Space Act. This law uses a maritime logic. While a company doesn't own the asteroid itself, it legally owns any resources it manages to extract. It is the same principle that allows a fisherman to own the fish he catches without owning the entire ocean. We are also seeing the rise of Luxembourg, a nation of just 600,000 people, as a central power in this race. Luxembourg is investing heavily in space startups and drafting laws to position itself as the financial hub for space wealth, essentially acting as the Switzerland of space for off-world mining companies. While space mining sounds like a distant dream, global governments have already finalized the legal and financial frameworks necessary to support a space-based capitalist economy. If we look at the broad pattern of human civilization, every major expansion of power has been triggered by the mastery of a specific resource. This progression moved from the stone tools of our ancestors to the mastery of bronze, iron, and eventually the globe-spanning empires built on the trade of spices and coal. The geopolitical map of the 20th century was defined almost entirely by the control of oil, a resource that dictated the outcome of wars and the rise of superpowers. Technology evolves and maps are redrawn, but the human drive to control the primary resources of the era remains constant. The asteroid economy is the next progression of human resource capitalism, moving the struggle for control from the Earth's surface to the void of our solar system.